Over the past year or so, I've been using the Escort MAXcam 360c radar and laser detector, and it has definitely saved me from a few close situations when I wasn't paying attention. For example, here's one where I was rolling down the highway, not really paying attention, kind of zoning out, listening to music, and all of a sudden, we get that KA band alert and I hit the brakes immediately. Now after I travel about another mile, what do I see to my left side? A stationary cop with a radar gun facing at me. But luckily I had about a mile of advanced awareness to know that he was there so I could slow down in time. But that's not even the funny part, because there was another car behind me speeding up after I slowed down. He didn't have a radar detector. Then right after we passed the cop, I see him pull out behind us and I'm like, oh no, I think he got me. I think he got me. But then after about another mile, he turns on his lights and pulls over the guy behind me because that guy didn't get an advance alert to slow down before the cop was able to spot him. That was one of the best moments I've had with this radar detection, and I was so glad to be able to capture that on camera. Now, although the MAXcam 360c is great in its own right, they did come out with the Escort MAXcam 360c, which is actually going to take it up another notch. So not only is this a radar detector with incredible range, but it also has a built-in 1440p Quad HD dash cam. So not only are you protected from radar and laser threats, but also from other threats that happen that would require a dash cam, such as an accident that you can prove wasn't your fault. As far as the internals of the Escort MAXcam 360 go, it actually features the same Blackfin 706 DSP and SDR-AD 9363 chips that are found in their flagship Redline 360c, which is their top of the line dashcam with incredible range. So we're looking at similar range to the Redline 360c in this unit, along with dashcam capabilities, the best of both worlds. Because in my mind, if you're going to invest in a radar detector, you want to get one of the best that has incredible range, because if you get one that gives you an alert when you're 2 feet away from the cop, it's already too late. Just like the Redline and the MAXcam 360c, this also has 360-degree protection, so it lets you know if a radar signal's in front of you, behind you, or to the sides of you, which is actually really cool because you can actually pinpoint where the cop is. If it says it's in front of you, you see a cop, you're like, I think that was him. The arrows change to the sides and then behind you, so you know, okay, I passed him, now I'm safe. And that's possible because it does feature dual antennas, so it can detect in front of you as well as behind you and figure out where the signal's coming from. One of the other cool things about the Escort series of radar detectors is they can actually connect to the cloud and download updates for speed cameras and also radar alerts that were picked up by other drivers, so that way you're always ready even if you happen to not pick it up because the cop moved a little bit or turned off his gun. Of course, it features GPS, IVT filtering, and auto sensitivity, which continuously learns in the background to silence false alerts on its own, and you can also do it manually if you want to. You're also able to connect this to a Wi-Fi hotspot in your car, or actually get the LTE adapter that goes with it so you can always have an internet connection. Which is great because a few times it actually saved me because it told me there was a stationary cop and I was like, okay, how come I'm not picking up a signal? I drove past him and I was like, okay, it didn't go off, but I knew he was here because it alerted me from the community. Now, as far as I can tell, the only difference between this one and the Redline 360c is this one isn't a stealth radar detector, but as long as you're in an area that doesn't outlaw radar detectors, it doesn't really matter if they detect you. Now, with all that being said, this is looking like a worthy upgrade to my MAXcam 360c, and I'm super excited to check this thing out. The box is looking fantastic. The radar detector is also looking fantastic. I mean, seriously, I was happy with the MAXcam 360c, so if this actually improves the range even more, that would be amazing. All right, here we go. Your drive maximized. Reveal the road ahead with the MAXcam 360c. Raise your road IQ and maximize your drive with the complete 2-in-1 driver alert system. Oh, nice. Just like before. So everything's very simple so far. Inside the box, we do have a quick start guide, as well as a 1-year warranty protecting your dash cam. Now, actually, one of the other things I forgot to mention about Escort and their radar detectors, if you get a radar detector like the MAXcam 360c, they actually do have a no-ticket guarantee. So if you happen to get a radar or laser ticket, they'll actually pay for it. So you're pretty much covered either way. That's how much they believe that this is a good product. So that's nice to see. Now, this is cool because if you happen to move your radar detector between cars or move it out of your car at times, this is nice to have a little carrying case. Personally, I've never actually used it. I always just leave mine set up so it's ready to go at all times. Inside, we have a mini USB cable, the Easy Mag suction cup mount, which I really like because you can easily remove the radar detector with the magnet instead of having to unscrew something, a coiled 12-volt power adapter along with a USB-A at 2-amp charger, and it also has a button here so you can quickly mute alerts without having to reach for the radar detector. We do have a case for the included 16GB micro SD card. Hopefully it's already installed because it's not inside the case. And then last but not least, okay, this thing's This thing's bigger than I was expecting. Well, let me make sure there's nothing else in here. Nothing else in there. But seriously, this thing is wider than I was expecting, to be honest. Let's pull this thing on out, and this thing's looking very nice, very big. This thing's definitely gonna be holding some power. A quick side-by-side comparison with the MAXcam 360c and the MAX 360c. You can see it's slightly bigger. Not too much actually now that I'm looking at it. It just kind of caught me off guard. Thickness-wise, it's about the same, a little bit thicker, but overall looks very nice. Now taking a look at the top, we do have the easy mag mount area, Escort MAXcam 360 branding on the side. Right here we have the rear-facing laser lens so it can detect lasers behind you. We do have a very large speaker grill, and the MAX 360c was already loud, so this thing definitely going to be as loud, maybe even louder given this giant grill. Looks like we have some microphone holes here for the dash cam, and then we have the buttons to control everything. We have a marking button which allows you to mark a location as a speed trap and unmark locations as well. In the middle we have a power button. Right here we have a program button, and this button wasn't on my MAX 360c, but apparently you can hold it down to save an emergency dash cam recording. Then next we have a sensitivity button so you can adjust the sensitivity of the radar detector, switching between modes like auto, auto no X, etc. And then we have a dedicated brightness button so you can adjust the brightness of the OLED display. Now taking a look on the right side, the micro SD card is pre-installed. Let's see what we got. We are looking at a 16GB SanDisk industrial card. Very nice, very easy to install, just like so. Then we have the mini USB port as well as the power port. Now this port's actually cool because the power cable locks in just like a phone jack, and it's not going to rip out and make you lose power when you need it most. Now taking a look on the back, I guess this would be called, the part that's going to be facing the road, we do have the forward facing laser lens, the forward facing radar antenna, as well as the 1440p dash cam. Flipping it over to the left side, there's nothing to see, and then flipping it over to the back that's going to be facing inside of the car, we do have a rotary knob. Inside of the rotary knob, right in the middle, we do have a quick access mute button so you can mute alerts when you don't want to hear them, along with the directional arrow so you can see where the signal's coming from, whether it's in front of you, behind you, or to the sides. Then right here in the middle, we do have the OLED display so you can see the strength of the alert, what kind of alert, and different information, along with the rear-facing radar antenna. And then taking a look at the bottom, it looks like we do have another speaker grill, so this thing is definitely going to be able to alert you quickly. Now I did find out one thing, this is actually a headphone jack, although it's covered up, so I don't think it's actually being used, but it's here for some reason. I'm not sure why you would use it, but they thought they would need it. Overall, this is feeling like a high quality radar detector. It's big and beefy. It's definitely going to have some strong antennas inside, along with that 1440p dash cam. Considering everything that's in here, it's actually a great size, good weight. You know, weight's pretty similar. I feel like it might be a little bit heavier, but it's, you know, pretty unnoticeable. So with that being said, there's not much else we can do with this in here, so we're gonna head out to the car, get this installed, go through all the settings, get it set up to my liking, and then go put it to the test. So now to get started, we're gonna tap on the program button. It's gonna open up our settings.
User mode, advanced.
We're currently in advanced mode. If we want to change it, we'll tap on mute,
Advanced.
and now we can toggle through them.
Novice user. Novice user.
I like to be on advanced personally, and we can go through other settings. We have pilot mode. As you can hear, it's talking. We have scanning,
Scanning bar.
which I like so I know that it's not frozen.
Full word.
Or you can choose full word if you want to see the word instead of the scanning bar. But I like the scanning bar. And then we have arrow mode. We have single, multiple, band, and single. I like to have mine on band because it lights up in different colors depending on what the signal is. It's red for KA, blue for K, and green for X. Display color, I like to have blue personally because it matches my car, but you can do also green, red, and amber. Now speed display, you can have this on or off so it tells you how fast you're going right here in the blue square. I like to have it on just to check how fast I'm going, or you can have it off and see your battery voltage. And then cruise alert, so this is where the radar detector will be silent if you're going under a certain speed because you're not going to be speeding going under 20 miles an hour or 25. I like to have mine set at 25. And then we have over speed alert, so this is where it'll alert you when you're going over a certain speed. I don't like to really use this, so I always just set it to 100. Well, you can go all the way up to 160 or have it off. I need to turn this voice off right now, it's kind of annoying me. So we have over speed limit, we can go 5 over, 7 over, 10 over, 15 over, 20 over, 25 over, or have it off. Meter mode, we have standard FR, spec FR, expert FR, Or simple if you have no idea what anything means and you don't really care. I like to have mine on spec FR. You're going to want to check them out and see each different one and to see what information it shows you so you know exactly which one you prefer. We have tones. I always like the standard tones, but you can also change it to standard plus or mild. Then we have auto mute. So this is actually how loud it's going to drop to after the initial alert. I like to have mine drop to low so it doesn't drive me crazy, but it still is really loud when it first goes off. Then we have auto learn on and off. So if you want it to automatically lock out signals that it picks up in the same area all the time, so that way it doesn't annoy you. I like to have that on so I don't have to manually mute different signals for Walmart and places like that. Then we have units, English, metric. I like to have it on English, of course. Language, we can have English, Spanish, I guess English or Spanish. I like to have mine on English. And then voice on or off, so that way when it alerts you, it's like KA band. I like to have that on, but I'm gonna leave it off right now while I'm going through the settings. We have GPS filter, so it'll actually use GPS to help you filter out alerts, which is nice to have, so leave that on. Auto power off. My car likes to stay awake a lot, so I just set it to an hour so it goes to sleep if my car's not sleeping because it's in Sentry mode. And then bands enabled. So right here, you can actually adjust which bands it picks up. I like to turn X band off because it's just an annoyance and there's no X band around me. K band I like to leave on. Multi-radar CD, I never had good luck with this, so I always just leave it off because I have a lot of false alerts with it. Multi-radar CT, the same thing. And then KA band is off. Why is that off? I gotta make sure that's on because that's almost always a cop. Laser on, TSR on, and then exit. We have K notch. Now this is one of the settings for some reason that's not inside of the app. I like to have this on because it filters out a certain frequency that's used by some blind spot cameras. So that way it'll actually reduce the falses you receive on K band. Then we have marker enables. We have other, red light, red speed, speed camera, speed trap, air patrol. I like to have all of these on just to get an alert if something might be going on in the area. It's up to you, but I like to have the alerts when it's like red light, camera red. I'm like, okay, cool. Clear location, marked, lockouts, defender, format. You can clear out the different options in case you want to start over. Next, we have Wi-Fi on and off, Bluetooth on and off. So you're gonna want to have Bluetooth on to connect it to your phone. Then we have auto update. You can have it set to all or turn it off, or just database or firmware. I like to have it all because I like to have the latest updates for everything. Wi-Fi update you can toggle right now if you want to check. And then interface, we have mode 1, mode 2, and you just want to pick the one that's the best for you. And then we have camera options. These are new. So we have video recording on, microphone on, loop clip time, so 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So I like to have it at 1 minute so they're smaller files. And then we have the G sensor level. I like to have it somewhere in the middle so that way it detects things without detecting bumps in the road. And then parking mode on and off. I like to have that on so it's recording while I'm parked. Motion detection, sure, turn that on so it records when someone walks by. Watermark on, so I'm hoping the watermark includes how fast you're going because that'll be a really nice touch given that it's built into the radar detector. Then we also have date and time stamp. Speed stamp, oh there we go, speed stamp. I'll turn that on, although depending on how fast you're going, you might want to have that off, so keep that in mind. Radar stamp, oh that'll be actually pretty cool, okay. And then we could format the SD card as well. Very nice, good settings here. And that's all the settings we have on the device itself. As you can see, it's pretty easy to do all the settings on the device itself, but it's obviously much easier to use the app. So let's go check it out. So now to get everything set up to our liking, we're gonna download the Drive Smarter app on our phone and open it up. We're gonna make sure our device is powered on, check. And now it's gonna be searching for our device that we have Bluetooth turned on. And it found it, MAXcam 360 combo device. We're gonna tap on that, continue, pair. And now we can choose a vehicle. Tesla, I already have it set up. Connect camera. And now you can actually rename your vehicle and add additional cameras if you want to. We're gonna just continue. And now it actually shows where we are on the map. Very cool. It says how fast we are moving along with the speed limit. And then we also have a video icon right here. Let's see what that does. Oh, we can see a live view. Very nice. Okay, we have to join the Wi-Fi network of the dash cam. And now we can see a live view of what the dash cam sees. It's a little bit delayed, but very good. It actually looks very clear. Very impressive. I could definitely make out stuff. We're actually going to test this out on the road later to make sure, but it's looking good so far. Now up at the top it says dash, so let's tap on that. Oh, so this is like a dash if you want to see how fast you're going, the speed limit and different things. Very cool. if you happen to need a speedometer in your car. And now taking a look at the app settings, we have about, alert audio, set to auto or phone. We have alert types. So here you can actually adjust different types of alerts. So right now they're all turned on from the community, although I feel like I would generally turn off X-Band, but from the community it might actually be something. I keep having some errors with the app, and this happened the last time I used this app with one of their dash cams. So the app could still use some work. We can adjust the app language, background activity, visual notifications, and audible alerts. Car finder is nice to have, so it remembers where you parked. Day and night mode, so you can have it set to auto or day and night. Still not wanting to connect to the network. Disable auto lock. We can disable auto lock. Overspeed alert is set to off. Select the vehicle that you want to show inside of the app. So these are basically settings for the app itself and not necessarily the radar detector. But then we have device settings over here. So this is where you can control the actual device itself. We have auto power. I'm going to set that to 1 hour so it automatically turns off after 1 hour. Bluetooth is currently on. Date and time settings, you can adjust this at will. GPS, language, speed units, unit, user mode, voice. Volume is currently at 7. I like to have it maxed out, so we're going to go all the way up to 12 because I like to have a mini heart attack when it goes off. Wi-Fi is on, voice is on, user mode is advanced. And then you can actually adjust the recordings of the dash cam as well. So we have advanced image capture, you can adjust the exposure. We have surveillance as well. So you can have motion detection, I want that on, parking mode, and then auto shut off. Video resolution, so the max is 1600p Quad HD at 30 frames a second, or you can do 1080p. Obviously you get more footage at 1080p, but I like to have higher resolution, especially at the same frame rate. Then we have watermarks, so you can adjust what you want the watermark to look like. You can have your driver ID, you can have the speed, timestamp, radar, latitude and longitude, as well as the logo. Oh, I see, you could change the driver ID, so I'm gonna just call it Rodrick's Tesla. Okay, I guess it's too long. It can't be that long, so it'll just be Tesla. So now it says Tesla up there instead of Escort. Very cool. Then down here we have the cruise alert set to 20. I'm going to set that to 25. That way it won't alert me when I'm going under 25 miles per hour because I'm not going to be speeding at 25. Drive smart services, so you can have auto backup your videos to the cloud, incident reporting, and mayday alerts. Driver assistance features, so we have speed alert, and I guess that's it. It'll let you know if you're going past a certain speed compared to the speed limit. We have marker settings. I like to have all of these on just to be on the safe side. Over speed alert, I don't want to be alerted when I'm going over speed because it gets annoying, so I'll just turn that off. Now this, I would like to have it off, but then it shows up as lines on the radar detector, so I just set it to an even 100 so it looks cooler. We have firmware updates, factory resetting, SD card formatting, auto learn is on, band settings. So this is where you can actually get more in depth with the bands. You can segment the bands so that way you won't get alerted for different parts of K and KA band. But personally, I like to leave all the KA and K bands turned on to be on the safe side, even though I can go a little bit deeper, but I'd rather have a couple falses instead of miss out on a real one. But I do always leave X band turned off. Of course, you're gonna change this depending on what area you're in and what radar is being used in your area. But in mine, I like to have KA and K turned on all the time. Multi-radar gives me a lot of falses, so I usually leave that turned off. Got them all turned on here. Okay, this is kind of weird. When I turn on some KA bands, it turns off some other ones. Okay, they're all turned on. Okay, they're all turned on now, except for X band. We're good to go. GPS filter is turned on. So this will allow GPS features. Sensitivity, we have auto, no X, so it'll just be KA and K band. Then we have auto low K, so it'll be auto KA with some K band and no X band as well. And then we have highway, which gives you the most range. And as you can see, it instantly changed on the radar detector.
Auto.
If you're in auto, when you go faster, it starts getting more sensitive because it knows you're on the highway, so it's good to have on auto most of the time, unless you want to be sure it's always being sensitive on the highway. Then we have ZR3 mode if you have a laser shifter. I don't have one, but you can actually attach one to this and use it, so that's really cool. We have arrow mode. The single one will only show a blue arrow going in the direction of the primary band. Multiple will show you multiple ones, with the front being blue and the rear one being red, but I like to have it on band because it has a different color arrow depending on which band is being detected. Then we have auto mute. I like to set this to low because it starts off really loud and then goes down low after I already know that it's going on. Brightness I like to have set to auto so it gets darker at night. Display color, we have blue, green, red, and amber. Blue matches my interior, so I like to have blue. And then we have meter modes. So the different meter modes are pretty straightforward. Standard is going to be the primary alert band with the bar signal strength. Standard FR1 is the primary alert one with the front and rear bar graphs. Standard FR2 is primary and secondary bands with front and rear bar graph signals. Spec FR1 is primary alert band with numeric frequencies and the front and rear bar graph. Spec FR2 is primary and secondary with numeric frequencies and the front and rear bar graph. Expert FR is multiple alert bands with front or rear bar graphs or signal strength. And then simple is caution. It's basically if you don't really care and you just want to know if there's a radar being detected in the area. I like to have mine on spec display because it lets me know the number, and that way I can tell if it's the same signal that's being picked up as I'm traveling. And then we have pilot. I like to have the scanning bar along with the full word. If you turn off the scanning bar, it just shows auto or highway or whatever mode you're in, but I like to see something happening. And then we have your current speed being displayed. You can have that turned on or off. I like to have it turned on. And then we have the tones. Standard is just going to be the standard Escort alert tone. Standard plus is going to be the primary alert being the standard tones, and then have a double beep for additional alerts. And then mild is going to be doorbell sounds. I like to have mine on standard plus because I like to be able to know when there's more signals being detected in the same area. So as you can see, it's very easy to adjust most of the settings inside of the app. The only one that I've seen that I wish was in the app that isn't is gonna be the K notch, which you have to do on the device itself to filter out some of the K band. Then once you're inside the gallery, you can actually see all of the different footage it recorded at what time and on what day. For some reason, we're not seeing any thumbnails now, but let's see if the video actually plays. It'll show you the map of where it was actually recorded and if it's the front or rear camera, and you can easily download it with the touch of a button. Now the downloading of this video isn't the fastest ever, so if you're in a hurry, you might want to just pop out the micro SD card and do it manually. So after I downloaded the video, it's kind of glitched out right here, but it says I can actually share it. It saved it to the gallery, but for some reason it's still not playing inside of the app itself, so the app is still a bit buggy, at least on iOS. So hopefully this gets fixed in a future software update, because right now it's a little bit unusable when it comes to looking at the dash cam footage. But the good news is the footage is in my gallery after I downloaded it. You just have to know which one you want since there's no thumbnails showing up inside of the app. But here it is, looking good. Although it only downloaded at 568 by 320, so that's definitely not the highest resolution, but it's good enough to allow you to see it on the fly. So you're definitely going to want to pop out the micro SD card and throw it in your computer if you want to get the high quality footage. Alright, so now that we got the MAXcam 360c set up to my liking, I'm going to go take it for a drive, put it through its paces, try to pick up some police radar, test out the camera, and see how well it works. The app was working great via Bluetooth, but once you're trying to use Wi-Fi to view the footage, it's kind of hit or miss and a bit finicky, so hopefully they do fix that in a future update, because that's really annoying, especially when you need to get footage when something happened. But the Bluetooth connection is solid and you're able to adjust the settings perfectly, along with using community alerts without having to be connected to a Wi-Fi hotspot. With that being said, let's hit the road. As of right now, I've been using the MAXcam 360c for about a month, and I've actually been putting it to some good use. I've gone on a couple of road trips, drove around town, drove on the freeway, you know, normal day-to-day stuff, and it has actually saved me quite a few times already. Now, one of the things I instantly noticed with the MAXcam 360c in comparison to my Max 360c is that it's a lot more quiet. And in that sense, I'm talking about it not picking up a lot of false alerts when I'm trying to drive and enjoy my time driving and not wanting to be alerted of something that doesn't matter. So in my experience so far, this does a very good job at canceling out false alerts, so I don't have to worry about them. But although it was working well in my day-to-day life, I did want to put it to a more scientific test, and the most scientific way I was able to do this was by heading to the local police station and finding a radar signal that I could put to the test. So what I did was go into the parking lot of a police station, pinpoint the exact location of a KA band radar alert that was being picked up on the radar detector. I was able to pinpoint the Ka band radar alert coming from a motorcycle that was parked in front of the police station. Now keep in mind, this motorcycle is in the parking lot away from the road between buildings, and the radar gun itself is even facing away from the road toward buildings, and it's being blocked by the buildings in the area. So to do this test, I drove about a half a mile away from the police station on the road that leads up to the police station. Once I got to that spot, I started driving, and this road does curve around some buildings before you actually get to the road that leads to the police station, so there are a lot of obstacles in the way. Right when I got around that curve to about a third of a mile away from the police station, the radar detector started going off and alerting me to a Ka band radar being detected in the area. The arrows were of course pointing directly toward the police station, so I knew that it was locked on to the signal. Now taking a look at this map, the Ka band radar signal is in the parking lot designated by the yellow pin, and my car is at the orange pin when it was first detected. As you can see, this is about a third of a mile away, even given all the obstacles of all the buildings in the area between the motorcycle and the road to where I am. Now although this wasn't a super long distance giving you a ton of notice, it's pretty impressive given that there's a bunch of buildings in the way of the signal, and plus remember, the signal is not facing directly to the road, directly to the car, it's facing toward a building inside of the parking lot. Given all these obstacles that were in the way, it still gives you enough time to react before the cop can spot you, especially since they're inside a parking lot between buildings. Now that being said, the radar detector portion of the MAXcam 360c works great, especially on a highway and a nice open road. You get a lot more range, of course, because when there's no obstacles, obviously you have a straight line of sight and you're going to pick up more signals. Now, although the radar detector portion of the MAXcam 360c is working phenomenally, the dash cam is a bit of a different story. So the dash cam comes in at 1440p resolution at 30 frames per second. Now the problem is the footage that I'm getting from this dash cam isn't great. I feel like it's mediocre at best. It'll get the job done in case you're in an accident and need to prove who was at fault, but if you're trying to check out license plates, you better be ready to scream what the license plate is so it can record it with a microphone, otherwise you're going to be out of luck. Because the video quality isn't very good and it could be a lot better. It looks pretty compressed, there's a lot of flickering issues going on, and it's just not the best video I've ever seen from a dash cam. But like I said, it's fine in an emergency as long as you don't have to read a sign or a license plate. Now with that being said, there is some good news about the dash cam, and that is that it actually watermarks the radar band that it's picking up, along with your speed, location, longitude and latitude, all of that good stuff right on the video, so you have all the information that you need in case you need that video. So for that, I would still definitely recommend using the dash cam functionality of this radar detector because it makes everything so much easier, especially if you have to prove your innocence. Now moving on to the Drive Smarter app, I had a terrible experience with that app. Once I installed it, I started noticing my battery draining significantly faster on my phone, as well as it heating up during the day. A quick look at my battery stats inside of the iOS settings menu, I can see that it was draining my battery even when I wasn't driving, when I wasn't in the car, when I wasn't connected to the radar detector. Just in the background, that app was doing significant damage to my battery life. As for the app, it works well if you want to adjust the radar settings, but when you're trying to take a look at the dash cam footage, the Wi-Fi connection that's being emitted from the radar detector isn't very good. It drops the connection a lot, and it's a real hassle trying to get clips, and once you do get a clip downloading, it's very slow. So what I would recommend is you get a mini micro SD card reader that you can plug directly into your phone and your computer, so you can get the video clips that way, because not only can you get them at full resolution, but it's a lot faster and a lot more convenient than trying to use the app in a hurry when it keeps disconnecting from the Wi-Fi connection of the radar detector, and then the quality isn't full quality anyways, and plus remember, it's painfully slow to download. So long story short, I did end up uninstalling the Drive Smarter app, but the good news is the Escort Live app also works with this radar detector, but only for the radar detector portion and not for the dash cam. But like I said, the dash cam functions are a little buggy. Now the good news is the Escort Live app does a great job at connecting the radar detector to the cloud database with your Bluetooth connection on your phone, and you can also adjust all the radar settings on your phone in that app as well without all of that significant battery drain of the Drive Smarter app. So I would definitely recommend getting the Escort Live app instead of the Drive Smarter app until they work out all those bugs, especially the battery drain problem. Now that being said, the Escort MAXcam 360c is a great all-in-one radar detector as well as a dash cam with all the capabilities built into one sleek device. The video quality is alright and good enough in case of an emergency, as long as you're ready to shout out a license plate in case somebody tries to hit and run. And the radar detector is sensitive and does a great job at blocking out unwanted false alerts. That ends up having you treat this like someone who's crying wolf because it's crying out radar alert, but there's no cop there. And then the one time there is a cop, you're not expecting it to actually be there because you're getting all these false alerts and you start blocking them out. Now, one thing I would like to change, and they could easily do this in a firmware update, is that there's the program button. A single tap on the program button goes into the settings of the radar detector, and then holding it down for 3 seconds saves the video clip that just got recorded in case of an emergency. I would like to have those two options flipped, because when I want to save a video, I hate having to reach up to the radar detector, hold it down for 3 seconds while I'm trying to drive to save that footage. I feel like it would be a lot easier to just tap it singly, just like on other dash cams, and have it instantly save the video, because I'm more often going to be saving a video in an emergency than having to go into the settings of the radar detector once I have everything set and done. So if you're looking for a radar detector that has a built-in dash cam all-in-one solution, I can definitely recommend the MAXcam 360c because it does everything, and it can be fixed in a future firmware update, but for the most part, you get the video footage that you can still take off the micro SD card if you need to, and you have a sensitive radar detector that does a good job at blocking out false alerts. So there's nothing more you could really want other than a better app that doesn't drain the battery, better dash cam footage, and being able to download said dash cam footage through the app without having the disconnection issues. But in the day-to-day use where you're just using it as a radar detector and a camera that's keeping you safe, it does its job fairly well.